Chien-Ming Wang, and he too, Tom, has an outstanding sinker ball.
Well, he's been pitching very well. His last 2 starts have been wins, one against the Rangers, his best start of the year against Oakland. 8 shutout innings and only 3 hits and only 85 pitches. Gets a lot of ground balls and doesn't throw a lot of pitches. He's not a strikeout guy. He depends on his sinker and his off-speed pitches, keeps the hitters off balance, and gets a lot of weakly hit outs. He's not an overpowering guy, but he's been pretty successful for the Yankees. He pitched well for them last year, along with Aaron Small. He came up during the season. He went 8-5 with an ERA right around 4. He's 3-1. His ERA is about the same as it was last year. And he's a young guy in their rotation. It's very important to them right now. He's pitching better than a guy like Randy Johnson, for that matter.
Sounds like the Taiwanese Cameron Lowe, when you put it that way. The Yankees defensively, with Derek Jeter doing his usual thing last night, both in the field and at the plate. A-Rod flanks him at third base, Robinson Cano at second base. Again, we note that Matsui's out of the lineup. Sheffield is out of the lineup. They're on the DL. Jason Giambi will be DHing tonight. He's back in the lineup, Tom. But, the Yankees slugged by injuries. They had that makeshift lineup yesterday. Posada hitting cleanup. They scored 14 runs.
I just hope the ball bounces toward Andy Phillips the same way it bounced toward Tex last night. The Rangers will have a couple of extra men on base because of it.
It's funny. Eric Nadel and I were talking about this as well. That, with literally 18, 20, 22 different storylines in that game last night, the most tidy way to sum it up is there were 2 bad hops over there for Mark Teixeira, and that was really the difference in the game.
Well, in the 7th and 9th inning, Johnny Damon led off both innings with ground balls to first. They each took funny hops, especially the last one. And instead of 2 outs to lead off an inning, Damon gets on and they score in each inning.
Gary Matthews Jr. grounding out. And I think the other interesting thing, just going back to yesterday, Tom, regarding Matthews. Think about how well he hit that ball in the 9th inning, trying to make it from 13-12 to 14 or 15-12. Hit it rock solid, but with the infield in, Robbie Cano ranged over, made a stab of the ball, and kept it 13-12, which ended up being, again, a big difference in the game.
Well, it's tough to hit a ball hard against Mariano Rivera, and when you've got the infield in like that, all you've got to do is hit it and find a hole. You've got a couple of RBIs. And Gary hit a pretty tough pitch, that cutter down and in, and hit it right on the good part of the bat. Unfortunately, hit it right at Cano.
Well, the kind of game where you just find yourself searching for the right descriptive word, and I think Mr. Nadel probably had the best one. Astounding. Just an astounding ball game yesterday. The first ever 14-13 final at this stadium, including football. Remember, they used to play NFL games here.
Well, you would have thought for sure they had a football game 14-13.
Nope, not according to the stats folks that track that stuff. And the Rangers scoring the 9 runs in the first 2 innings last night. Just the 5th time in the history of Yankee Stadium that a visiting team came in here, scored 9 times in the first 2 innings. Young with a ground ball, just like you called it, Tom. Wong when he's on. Oh, safe the call. Michael Young beats that out. Maybe Phillips coming off the bag or juggling it.
I think what happened was Cano fielded it close to Phillips and had to flip it. And I think the speed he flipped it at Phillips surprised Phillips. It handcuffed him. Instead of having his glove out to catch it, he's got his hands in because it fooled him. And it pops out of his glove. He juggles it. And Michael's safe at first on the error.
Yep, E3. That little juggle right there, that's what they called. But the ball off the bat of Michael Young, I think, speaks to what you were mentioning off the top regarding Chien-Ming Wang. Now, he will get you to just kind of roll the ball weakly into the infield.
He doesn't give you many good pitches to hit. That was a slider to Michael. With 2 strikes, you have to guard the plate. And it was a slider probably a couple inches outside. And to guard the plate, you have to reach for it. And when you reach for it, it's hard to really hit it that hard. And that's Wang's game. Don't throw it down the middle of the plate. Mix it up, hit the corners. He's doing a pretty good job of it.
Mark Teixeira had a couple of hits against Chien-Ming Wang a week and a half ago back in Arlington. I win the gentleman's bet. You called him Wang first. I'll do it at some point, too.
It's hard not to.
Well, it's W-A-N-G.
Why do they spell it W-O-N-G?
Because that would be Wong.
The Wong spelling?
White. One of 3 Taiwanese major leaguers. And, you know, we kind of batted this around a week and a half ago back home, Tom, with the domination in the Little League World Series every year of Team Taiwan for so many years. You wonder why more players from that island country haven't made it to the show. Teixeira lifting one to left field. It'll curl and go to Bubba Crosby for out number 2.
Yeah, I think even if you look at the U.S. players who play in the Little League World Series, it's rare that you see someone graduate from the Little League World Series to the big leagues, which just goes to show how hard it is to get to the big leagues when some of the best 12-year-olds in the world don't even get to the big leagues. And kids mature at different ages. Sometimes the kids that are dominating in Little League are 7th graders who are almost 13 years old, and that extra year has allowed them to mature and reach puberty, and they dominate in a 12-year-old league. But then when they get on the field as a 14-year-old and the field's bigger, the major league field, the other kids, they start to mature. They get a little bit bigger and stronger, and they go past those kids that were so good when they were in the Little League.
There's a strike to Nevin. It's interesting to have this conversation here because you might remember a kid named Danny Almonte a few years ago who everybody said looked 14 instead of 12, and turns out he sure was.
Yeah, now that was a different story. He dominated because he was too old.
And now he's dominating for real in high school ball here in New York City. He's supposed to be an outstanding professional prospect.
Even though he was 14 years old, which is a huge advantage, 2 years at that age, with all the difference in the world. Watching him pitch, he was a very stylish pitcher with good pitching mechanics. And you had a feeling he would become a pretty good pitcher. I don't know exactly where he'll be drafted or if he'll be drafted, but he's got some pretty gaudy statistics in high school.
Nevin wraps one out of play. Yeah, the Rangers actually have had a couple players who played in the Little League World Series. Wilson Alvarez, Ed Vosberg both did it. And we've seen Sean Burrows, the son of Jeff Burrows, this year playing for Tampa Bay. He had that great run with the Long Beach team several years ago. Again, Wong very much about the ground ball out. 19 ground ball outs in his last start. That was against the Oakland A's. And that is strike 3. Slider. One man left, and nobody scored for the Rangers against Chen-Ming Wong. It'll be Cam Lowe against the Yankees when we come back.